Twilight's Nightmare, Chapter 28, The Dark Disciple. Dark Disciple was having a good day overall, at least until he realized that the prisoner was gone. That was 20 minutes ago. The door ahead of him to the warehouse was thrown open in his aura. The ponies that he was puppeteering had already relayed the message to rush the dark magic bomb. He at least wasn't disappointed when he came into view of the Silver Circle and saw it nearing functional completion. Looking over, he saw it wasn't perfect. It was nowhere close, but it was good enough to hold what they had, or at least it would be in about half an hour. You, get all the puppets on lookout. We could have company from the Royal Guard at any moment. We probably have a few hours, but we can't take any chances. He could feel the need to inflict all the pain and suffering that he could to any that served Celestia. He headed over to the circle, and spent the next half hour helping to get the silver liquefied and poured into the carved channels. As they completed their task, he sent a magic pulse through the circle to test its integrity. Barely solid enough to function, but it'll have to do. We don't have time to fix the imperfections. They had about 150 ponies bound by compulsion spells who were forced to do things around the city. Another 50 ponies were being directly puppeted by the cultists that were adding their power to the 5 unicorns that were about to channel energy into the circle. This wasn't the easiest thing to do either. Channeling another's power while controlling your own and maintaining a mental spell form for this was going to be taxing on his mind. Fortunately, it didn't matter in the long run, because their sacrifice would provide more energy to Sombra. They didn't need to survive this. Every pony in position? Disciple asked as the rest were arrayed around the circle. Each unicorn was at equal distance around the circle, one Pegasus and one Earth pony behind each of them adding their own energy. They all nodded. Then let's get this started. Lord Sombra, we make this sacrifice to you, so that you may return to your rightful place. The power started flowing as the dark magic miasma seeped from their eyes. The green glow provided a bit more illumination to the silver circle. About an hour later, things still seemed to be going well. No royal guards had shown up, the power was still flowing, and one of the puppets was still going around, passing around the now cold hayburgers. But then suddenly a powerful wave of magic washed over them. Every pony flinched, their magic momentarily fizzling. The channeling instantly ceased. What the hell was that? Disciple exclaimed as he felt out for what just happened. A dark presence was outside somewhere. He could feel the menacing power and anger pouring from an alicorn. It was only a moment before he realized that could only be Princess Luna. Get back to channeling, now! He ordered. It seemed as if every shadow held sharp-clawed, hungry monsters, each one just waiting for some pony to look away before striking. Disciple hoped that this was just some sort of fear effect, and even if it wasn't, his course was set. They all rushed back to it, pouring as much energy as they could and as fast as they could. The flow rate didn't matter now. The forcing of too much mana was going to damage their horns, but they didn't care. They were out of time. They started sacrificing life force just to get more power into it. The puppets started taking defensive positions around the warehouse. But then the fear of the shadows dissipated. Apparently it was just a calling card of some kind, inviting ponies to surrender. He glanced at the gathered magic, his mind working out the quickest way to detonate it should they try and undo all of his work. An explosion rocked the warehouse, and his senses recoiled. There was debris falling inside like a part of the exterior wall had detonated. Trying to get his bearings after the flash and trying to see through the dust, he winced as a painful vibration danced along his horn, cutting off his magic. What in Tartarus was that? He looked at the circle, and saw that the magic had been disrupted. Most of the energy that they spent the last hour pumping into was all lost. In the middle stood a white mare with a golden mane and tail, alicorn-like wings spread and glowing with power. The magical disruption faded, releasing his magic. Kill. The one word pounded into his mind and forced him to act. A small library of spells flashed through his mind before he grabbed one and started to cast it. A part of his brain noted that one of the Pegasus cultists was injured and now cold. He rushed to complete a spell, but she was faster. Right as he was about to cast, a part of the circle was enveloped in her white aura. It crackled with static and then exploded, destroying a not insignificant portion of it. It would take a couple of hours to fix the damage. The force of the blast buffeted him, knocking him to the side a bit, and by the time he was able to try for his spell again, his target was gone. Looking around, he saw all the puppets suddenly fall to the floor, their strings cut and the direct mind control broken, as the maintained connections were disrupted. Making things worse, there was now a massive magical flux sitting right in the middle of the circle. No pony would be able to reliably cast magic in that area until it was cleansed. How would this mare disappeared so fast? He felt one of his companions reach out with a blood detection spell. Noting the good idea, he went with one better. He started to cast a blood hold spell, keeping the power weak until he found his prey. A couple of flashes of movement in the shadows and 2 more of the cultists were down. Kill! With a sadistic grin and an effort of will, he started to use her blood to crush her heart. As soon as he felt like he had a grip, his spell just failed. A faint echo of that disrupting tone rippled out from where she was. The attacker was visible, though for a moment before she suddenly flash cast something, and then she was gone again from view. The others were firing kinetic bolts at her to reveal her location in the shadows, even though none of them seemed to be able to hit her. Who is she? Is she some sort of wannabe Batmare? One of the other unicorns was charging a particularly nasty dark spell meant to detonate any pony that didn't have dark magic in them. No sooner than he started charging it though, the white mare just seemed to appear in front of the caster. She smacked him in the horn with her hoof, causing the spell to short out, and his fellow cultist was unconscious. So she isn't going for kills. She's weak, fast, but weak, he thought, determination and hope filling his heart as a weakness was found. As soon as his fellow unicorn's horn was hit, another was casting the Bloodhold spell on her. He decided to double down on the attack and used his Mind Puppet spell as well. He couldn't feel any mental shielding when the spell contacted her. And she's done for. Now we just have the Princess of the Night to deal with. Wait, how is she resisting? He saw informed magic flood his target as the mind spell was overpowered with what looked like a full casting technique. She was simply throwing a lot of magic at a problem and hoping it would achieve something. Unfortunately, it worked. Even if she had a lot of power, she will have to be weak after that. The chaotic ripple of magic emanated from her again. He grit his teeth at the remembered pain. Great, she's doing the magic flux thing again, he thought, his anger building up. The mare reared up on her hind legs, keeping the flux field up and nullifying the dark tentacles of magic that were about to grab her. Oh, fuck me, seriously, how many tricks does this mare have? The rest canceled their castings, as their Pegasus and Earth Pony cultists advanced on her. He saw them lunge, and in a blur of movement, two of the Earth Ponies were down. One was feather slashed in the eyes, and the other was laying on the ground, unconscious. The third one that had advanced was currently sailing through the air towards the warehouse door. Despite her expert martial arts, she had finally made a mistake. She had let her attention narrow to just the melee. Seeing an opportunity, his servants wasted no time at all in telekinetically bringing the ceiling down on her. As the ceiling fell, one of the Pegasi got caught in the debris and was down. A flash of white in the other was out cold at the same time, the debris landing on the floor where the blasted white mare was supposed to be. What's almost as infuriating as her fighting is the fact that she hasn't said a single word. Disciple saw that there was him and three of his fellow or make that two of his fellow unicorns still standing. Once again, she was suddenly just there, and smacked a nearly fully charged spell out of his fellow caster's horn. Again. Now she seemed to be moving closer at regular speed though. It looks like she's finally out of energy. Whatever she's using to create that fluxo is still going. I can't cast anything while in this. He decided to leave the flux zone as quickly as his legs could carry him. When he looked back, one of the two remaining cultists was down, and the white mare was in melee with the other one. Frustration and anger flared in him. This mare had dismantled the entire operation. He couldn't let this stand. She must die. Kill! The command in his mind roared like the Royal Candlelight voice. One final spell filling the whole of his mind. He wanted to grin, he wanted to laugh, but there was no time. His blood magic turned inwards, charging his body with explosive power. His unicorn magic transmuting his bones, hardening them, and breaking them in jagged sections to add more shrapnel to the blast. He felt his body begin to swell as the power sought to escape, and his blood formed into blades rendering his insides. The pain was indescribable, but it didn't matter. She would die. Die! He used his last moment of existence to roar at her, the sound more carried by his magic than merely the air. How much you want to bet that she didn't even die? She probably just got like a little scratch or something on her. Though if she did get more than just a scratch on her, that's understandable, considering the fact that she just got blown up by a pony terrorist. I probably shouldn't say that. Anyway, let's get on to our exceptional donators. Top donators: TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing, Zar630, Strix, Raiden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, CrazyKiller557, Stu Hex, Dospo, Madman Stan, Delta Omega, Jack Hadge, RuneType9852, Leslie Prickett, Hunter Norman, Stephen Bingham, LineGod12, Sunfire, and many more amazing people. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.